Sometimes you'll find yourself making the same design changes over and over again when it comes to adding controls to your forms and reports. You can alter the default properties of your form controls in order to keep everything consistent and speed up development time. Let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go over here to this controls form that we set up earlier, and I'll right-click and go into Design View. Now when we add a control, for instance, this text label option here, and drop it down into the form, it comes in with some default properties. I'm just going to type in the word text here, and press Enter. If I go over to the Format tab, you'll see that it's always going to have this Calibri font at 11 points. It's going to be this kind of gray color here, and it's going to be left aligned. Now if I want to change these properties, I can go through and change them for this specific text object, but when I go back to the Design tab and add another label, it's going to revert back to that same format. If I want to make changes to every single label, what I can do is set the default properties. Let me show you how. Let's go ahead and select the label, but instead of adding one down into my form, I can take a look at the property sheet. Right now it says Selection Type Default Label. If I make any changes here, that's going to change the default status of the label control. So for instance, I can go over here to the Format tab and come down here to the font name and change it from Calibri. I'll go ahead and highlight that, and I'll change it to Cambria. If I don't want everything to be 11 points, I can change that here, maybe to 14 points. If I want to change the text color, I can do that too. That's the forecolor property here. Let's go ahead and select that. I'll press the build icon here, and I'm going to choose black. Okay, now those changes are made. I can go up here to the controls group, and I can select it here. I'll go ahead and click it to select it, and then I'll come down here into my form and add in a new control. Now when I add it in, you can notice that it automatically comes in at Cambria at 14 points in a black color. We can also do the same thing for other controls. For instance, my button control. Normally when you add a button in, it adds it in this blue color. Let me go ahead and cancel out of this wizard. You see the blue color theme here. Now earlier when we were talking about buttons, I mentioned that my favorite property of the button here is this Use Theme Color property, and I like to set it to No. So what I'm going to do is set the default to No, and now every button that I add into my form, go ahead and cancel out of the wizard again, will be set to not use a theme color here instead. So unfortunately, the defaults only apply to this specific form. So if you create a new form, objects will return to their original defaults. You can save yourself a little bit of time by preparing and saving a starting template form design that you can copy when you want a new object, rather than starting from scratch each time with a new form. So that's how default properties are established for your form controls. By taking a few minutes up front to set them, you can save yourself a countless number of clicks down the road.